Haha, all right. Hi guys, I'm Eli Luberoff. I'm the founder and CEO of Desmos, and I'm a nerd. And I'm here to convince you guys that everyone can be, and that given the right tools, every student will become fluent in math, will love math, and will actually enjoy it as part of their life. And so I want to show you what we're doing to make that possible. Uh-oh. Cool. So I want to start by contrasting this on the left. It's a TI-84 graphing calculator, silver edition, for those of you who aren't fluent in the graphing calculators. On the right, we have some really good technology. What's the difference between these? Well, a couple things. The one on the left has been around for 25 years. It actually exists in almost exactly this form. It didn't used to be silver edition. It used to be normal edition. They launched that 5 years ago, but the insides are exactly the same. The cost is exactly the same. It's still over $100 for that thing on the left. The other fact about that is that it is completely ubiquitous. People talk about one-to-one programs coming in the future and looking like that. In fact, one-to-one programs have been here for 15 years and look exactly like that. Almost every single kid in almost every school has access to that device. I think this is a problem for a couple reasons. The first is that it's actually a prohibitive expense, especially when you start losing them, which I did twice. It can add up, and for a lot of parents, this is not an expense that they can afford, and it increases gaps between people who have resources and people who don't. That's a huge problem. But I think there's a bigger problem, which is that it's not good technology. And if this is the portal through which kids are learning math, no wonder kids think that they don't like math. On the right, we have Desmos. This is purely HTML5, so it runs on all of these different devices at once. It's also free, but most importantly, it's really powerful technology. It takes advantage of the fact that Moore's Law has still been operating for the last 20 years, and we're now 1,500 times better than that by most metrics. This now outperforms MATLAB and Mathematica running as a JavaScript app in the browser. I want to show you what people are doing with this. This is a picture of our homepage at desmos.com. So originally we had this big homepage. There was a whole bunch of paragraphs about why we think math is important and all of this. What we noticed when we started looking at what people were doing with Desmos was that that was the worst pitch we could possibly do, and we resorted to instead just showing pictures of what people are doing on Desmos. Every single one of these graphs down here, those change every day. These are made by teachers who use Desmos. These are examples of math using our powerful tools where you can actually visualize the math. Every one of the ones above, that was done by a student on Desmos. These are high school students. These are community college students. These are middle school students. Every single one of those. This shirt, Superman, Desman, this was graphed by a 10th grade boy. Every single one of these. So I want to show you a couple more specific examples of how teachers are actually using this in their classroom. I'll start with the middle. This was a Desman project. One teacher taught parabolas, called it Desman, said use what you've learned to try to draw a picture of a face. It went crazy on Twitter. A few other teachers picked it up. There have been some blogs about it. Desman is now a word. We love it. On the right, this was a project by a teacher called Bob Lockle. He'd just done the various different conic sections. And what he told the kids to do was try to make a picture, export it to Paint, fill it in. And what I love about this example, the eyeball on the right, super creepy, sorry, but the math behind it is awesome, is that this was done by a student of his named Connor, who he said has never really been that engaged, never really liked the math, and went way above and beyond what he's ever seen any student do in this unit. He didn't teach them how to rotate parabola or ellipses. He didn't teach them that. Dylan wanted it because that's what makes an eye look good. And he went on Wikipedia and he looked through all of their resources and he found the equation and he found out how to rotate it by 20 degrees and he kept iterating that and he came out of this with a better understanding of conic sections than any student that Bob said he'd ever had. And this is a student who didn't go into the project liking math. My other favorite is this one on the left. This was done at a school called Summit. It's a charter school down in San Jose. I don't know if you guys know it. It's a really cool model. And this graph was done by a friend of a kid named Ronik. And what I love about this is that we don't support that color. That yellow in there, I think it's awful, and we did not put it into our calculator. But one of the kids really wanted yellow. Ronik learned HTML programming, looked at our source code, figured out the place where we were setting the color yellow, and showed his friend how to do it, actually sent us a 9-page Word doc describing how to do these. Just like, in case you guys want to add more colors. And I wrote back like, that's probably not the easiest way to add more colors. But Ronik is now a celebrity at the school. We went and visited, and at one point I was like, someone figured out how to change colors, and everyone points at Ronik. And later on in the project, someone's like, hey, Ronik, can you give me orange? And yeah, this kid learned how to program so that he could do more interesting things on Desmos. Kids are doing really extraordinary things. Our hypothesis going into this was that if we gave people a powerful tool and we didn't restrict what it could do, they would blow our minds, and they have blown our minds more than I could describe. Every single one of these is a graph by a student using things like inequalities and restrictions and understanding domain and range. And this goes back all the way to 6th grade. Here's some tweets that we have. I love this one from Grader Ali. My 6th grade students use Desmos to graph patterns and check their function rules. They caught on so quickly, great day in the classroom. This is back at 6th grade. We think this is really important. The engagement that we're seeing as indicated by this is off the charts. The average time that people spend on Desmos when they go to it is over an hour. I don't know if you guys saw that Sumly sold recently for $30 million, and the big stat they were talking about was how people spent 5 years in their app every month. People only spend 3 years in our app, but it's every day. I want to show you a little peek into the future with the last 2 minutes that I have here. So we decided that if we made this really open-ended piece of software, people would do incredible things with it. We want to actually make it so you can do even more incredible things that we hadn't imagined. And this is an example of that future. This is called Daily Desmos. It was a team of 3 teachers. It's now grown to 20 who every single day post a couple graphs and try to guess the answers. And I emailed them. I said, what could we do to make this better? And they said, you could have it check whether the answer is right. So here's the software that we're building. This is a sneak peek into the future of Desmos, which is our API that makes it possible to power rich interactive math apps that aren't just built by Desmos. So we have this up. We're working with them. We're working with a few providers to spread this. Quick background into the team. You met me. I'm Eli. This is Eric. Everyone hates me for this slide because no one likes this picture. I didn't like mine, so what do you get? We're also backed by a slate of really excellent investors who care about the combination of impact and business viability. Kapoor Capital, Google Ventures, Learn Capital, a few others. Just a quick recap on what we're thinking for the future. So on the left, we have mobile apps. We want to be in every kid's pocket. We want no one to have to spend $130 on 25-year-old technology again. And on the right, we have our API. What we want to do is power our vision across the web. And this is the idea that the best way to learn is to explore, is to experiment, is to have interactive stuff that just works. Low barrier to entry, really high ceiling to what you can do. We want to spread this to the rest of the internet. So again, I'm Eli at desmos.com. If you have any questions, check it out. I hope after this you guys will join me in being a nerd.